Okay, that's working. And excuse me, so is this one. All right. So, just gonna state this. I'm a huge fucking Halo nerd. And not that long ago, Nuxtaku uploaded a video. Uh, Actually, it was yesterday. So it makes it easier for me. He blind reacts to the Halo full story and lore. He says it broke him. But I can promise you that this video is probably not as in-depth as you think it is. And I'm going to state this right now that when it comes to Halo, I know practically everything there is to know about the series. So Nux, if you have any questions, just come to me. Come to me, my child. I can tell you a lot of stuff that this video is probably neglecting to mention. It's a 43-minute long video. It's pretty short in comparison to when you think about other like videos about lore that I've seen him watch. I think he watched like he watched Doom, I think, and it was like an over an hour video. I think he watched Star Wars. It was also over an hour. So this is pretty short. So let's check it out. Oh, okay. It's pretty quiet.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
Halo has a rich and expansive storyline that's only getting longer, and we've arbitrarily made First Contact. And this time, First Contact with
skip 3 minutes and they pushed the key.
so we better get started.
All right, let's go.
5 minutes? Oh, God.
You're not going to be able to get a lot of lore detail in 5 minutes. This is an in-depth thing. There is over 5 million to 5 billion years of information that needs to be stated. Like, Halo is that in-depth. I mean, you got the precursors that were basically gods. They helped create everything in the universe. Then you get their downfall, what they became. Then you get, you know, the ancient humans and forerunners. You get the human flood war that evolves into the human forerunner war, that evolves into the forerunner flood war, that evolves into modern day history. There's a lot of shit.
All right, here we go. 100,000 years ago,
It's not 5 minutes.
humanity spanned the Milky Way galaxy, but
All right.
there was a problem. An insidious parasitic life form known as the Flood spread to so many species so rapidly it was looking like they'd soon be the only players on the board. While we're
Wait, hold up. So there's this giant. Okay, dude, speed running this shit. Oh my god. So there's this life form, this parasitic life form that is absorbing everything hive mind style.
treating from the Flood.
Yeah, that's the Flood. The Flood is, and it's basically, it's space zombies, but it's unlike zombies that we think of. It's a hive mind. Yeah, once they get enough biomatter, they combine themselves to create things like grave minds, and grave minds are insane. Like, they take in the information of all the people they've absorbed. So if a master surgeon is turned into a flood, guess what? Now every flood knows how a surgeon works. If they absorb a rocket scientist, they now know how a rocket scientist works on top of that brain surgeon or that supreme master surgeon. And it just goes on and on and on and on. And that's why the Grave Minds has, you know, he's a giant monster, but he speaks with such intelligence. It's insane how smart these things are.
Humanity encountered a planet occupied by Forerunners, a species led by a dude called the Didact and his wife, the Librarian. The Didact knows humanity, and he's not a fan. In fact, he finds them unworthy to receive the Mantle of Responsibility, which is a traditional role in the galaxy where advanced species look out for lesser ones.
What's funny is the Forerunners weren't worthy of the Mantle of Responsibility. They stole it from the Precursors by destroying the Precursors. But guess what happened when they destroyed the Precursors? The Precursors became the Flood.
The Didact and Forerunners stole the mantle from an even older alien race called the Precursors by wiping them out. Hypocrites much? Anyway, there's a bit...
Wait, so oh my god, he's going so fast. So there was this oh my fucking god. So there was this ancient race, super powerful. The Didact wiped them out, took this power, then they were going to give this That didn't happen.
Big war between the Forerunners and humans, who are both also being assaulted by the Flood, and
The reason for the Human Forerunner War is because humanity was terrified the Flood had reached certain areas. So what they did was they were basically doing what the what Future Covenant was doing, which was destroying planets because they were terrified, oh shit, there's going to be a flood infestation. And for the reason for this was because when the precursors, they didn't really get destroyed. Like, they were so advanced that they could break their bodies down to like this dust particle, and they just floated around space for millions of years. And that dust got corrupted, and that's what became the Flood. But some human scientist who was traveling space back then finds the dust, collects it, and for some reason they decided, oh hey, let's inject this dust into our ancient style of dog. And they would do that, and the dogs would like change color. You could even pick the color you wanted your dog to be. You could pick the pattern you wanted them to be. And they were doing that for hundreds of years. And after a certain amount of time, they noticed that, wow, they're growing appendages and they're getting violent. What is going on? And that's what led to the Flood waking up, was hundreds of years of genetic mutations in animals. And then it evolved, and then it became a human problem. And then they started noticing that everybody was getting violent, and they were starting to grow appendages, and their skin was changing, and they weren't really thinking properly. And that's how the Flood woke up. So, stop fucking with space dust.
the humans lose. The Forerunners de-evolve them and revert them back to caveman time
What?
as punishment.
Oh my god! Wait.
Yeah, that stems namely from the fact that the Human Forerunner War was not really a fair one, because the humans were fighting a war on two fronts. Their priorities were stretched very thin. Hang on. What was... Oh, so he actually has a different name. Okay. I'm looking for... something specific. Forerunners have weird names. And I'm not talking about the names they picked, like Didact and Librarian. I'm talking about their real names. Like, this is the Librarian's real name. First Light Weaves Living Song. That's her name. Okay, stop giving me the fucking Forerunner Flood War. Give me the... previous war. Where's the Human Forerunner War? What happened to this damn thing? No, what did the Human Forerunner one? The Flood one, I think it might pop me up to the 2500s. Here we go. This guy, Forthencho, he was the leader of the humans during the Human Forerunner War. He was the Admiral of Admirals. or Lord of Admirals. I'm sorry. Like, he's basically like the president, but better. He had to lead the humans during a very impossible time. He had to lead them through both the Human Flood War and the Human Forerunner War, and unfortunately, he lost. He couldn't do much. But ancient humans lived a lot longer than modern humans. I mean, he was born 110,300 years before Christ, and he served through 109,000. That's over 300 years. Like, goddamn.
So humanity took over the stars 100,000 years ago. All right, they lost to the Didact, so the Didact fucking devolved them and dropped them down caveman style on the planet. Oh my lord, that's dark as balls. Bro! Alright, and I guess they're still fighting the Flood.
Seeding an obscure planet called Earth with the human survivors of the war. But they still have the Flood to deal with. The Didact's plan are these fake planets called shield worlds and an army of warriors called Prometheans made of the consciousnesses of Forerunner warriors implanted into synthetic bodies by a device called a composer. He gets outvoted though, and the Forerunners instead build an array of super weapons floating in space designed to wipe out all life in the galaxy at any time if need be.
Yeah, I don't feel like that. Bro, these Samson option. Holy shit. Yeah, they always have like a little... Oh, we lost to the Forerunners, not the Didact? Alright. So apparently now they have this nuclear option where essentially they could click a button, wipe out all life.
Oh, here it is. This is like, remember how like I was talking about you earlier? Oh, well, there's no picture, but it was called a Feru. Stop popping up with ads. A Feru. This was like basically a dog that humans and Sancheyums had that they were injecting with the stuff that would become the Flood.
So that the Flood at least doesn't exist forever. They have a kill switch to end the Flood, which is this weird fungus-based hive mind.
In order to stem the tide of the Flood. These weapons are giant terraformed rings in space called halos, collectively known as the
That's why it's called halos.
Yep, the ring.
Oh! Because that's the name of their weapons that might end all life in the galaxy. Okay.
Halo array. The Didact goes rogue when he's ordered to dismantle the shield world, steals the composer, and heads to Earth, intending to compose all the remaining humans to swell the ranks of his robot army. Incidentally, being a robot makes you immune to the Flood's parasitism, so he kind of has a point on that front. The Forerunners foil the plan with the...
I mean, you can't be infected if you're not a biological like thing, because the Flood don't only infect like humans or animals; they can infect trees and oceans and all that stuff.
help of the librarian, who sells out her husband, believing archival of every species in the galaxy is the way to go. Instead,
Bro, the Trazen of the characters, just gathering all the fucking bullshit from everybody.
the Flood. The Didact is imprisoned on one of...
So they're trying to turn as many people as they can into like, you know, synthetic life forms, you know, Mechanicus style. So that the Flood can't actually just keep absorbing people into their hive mind.
his own shield worlds called Requiem, along with his loyal Prometheans. Not sure why you'd bury Hitler with an army of loyal Nazi soldiers right next
True!
to him should he
Oh my god, this is a terrible plan!
ever awaken, but okay. Meanwhile, the Flood...
Well, they couldn't really do much.
More intelligent, and the Forerunners build an AI named Mendicant Bias to help strategize against them.
Mendicant goes hard. Problem is that he went rampant because of what the Flood did.
He immediately decides to test the Halo array by wiping out all life on one random planet.
What? What? You've got to be shitting me. Bro. I'm sorry, I got a message. Wait, so just to test their weapon, they wipe out all life on a planet?
Alderaan style, which doesn't bode well. Indeed, a Flood
Hold
Grave
on.
Mind, which are the things that represent the combined consciousnesses of millions of Flood, reaches out telepathically or technopathically to Mendicant and convinces it to turn...
Because there was another one Uh, after Mendicant fell to the flood, there was another one. I forgot his name. Ah, offensive bias. That's what it is. Mendicant and offensive. Offensive had to like outthink him. And he wasn't meant to be better than Mendicant. He was just there to stall him. To stall Mendicant long enough that the Forerunners could fire the Halo array. That was basically it. As far as we know, Mendicant is probably been destroyed. Offensive is canonically, I think, still running. Mendicant, I think, was destroyed probably in 2552.
Evil. That means the Forerunners are up against the Flood and their own AI war machine, which renders
Wait, so the Flood was able to take control of this AI war machine? Holy shit.
the war essentially hopeless. As a last-ditch effort, the Forerunners build Installation 00, aka the Lesser Ark, which both stores the DNA of a bunch of species and pumps out new halos. It sits...
Dude, this is literally the ultimate...
We forget that there was also, it's called the Lesser Ark because there is an arc that was significantly bigger than it called the Greater Ark, and it spat out, and the Greater Ark spat out Halo rings that were like twice the size of the Halos that we play on in the games.
The ultimate fucking anti shit. So they built this thing to be epic and immortal and immune, and then they just absorb and take over the epic and immortal and immune. Dude, the Flood seems like they are way more powerful than these fucking diadect people. Like, I feel like it's not even remotely close. This is like
He keeps trying to call all Forerunners Didacts. There's only two Didacts. There's the Didact and the Iso Didact. And the Didact is the one in Halo 4. The Iso Didact was his superior, I think is what it's called.
Existential threat.
It's just outside the galaxy, so that even if the Halo array is fired and the Flood finally ended, the life stored there will survive. You know, like Noah's Ark. Although how Forerunners named their thing after something from our Bible long before the Bible was ever written, I don't know, but okay. The Ark constructs 7 halos, dubbed the final...
Oh my god, wait, so are you telling me that the biblical Bible stories in the world of Halo are just retellings of ancient alien races?
final array. The Forerunners trigger it.
I mean, yeah, the Ark, Halo, the Gravemind's meant to be, I guess you could argue that it's a plague. The Halo array itself is argued as the Flood. Well, no, I'm sorry. The Flood is like the ancient flood, as it kills everything in sight. Now, I guess the Halo array is basically it's what happens after the 40 days and nights of flood.
Etch-a-sketching the galaxy clean of life, then teleport clones of each species back to suitable planets to begin again. Humanity's portal opens on Africa, and Halo's history
The first humans were on Africa, it's true! Wow, this is insane. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Yep.
You're telling me that the Flood...
And he just gave you a simple overview. Like, you could talk for probably 30 minutes to an hour about the Human Forerunner War, the Human Flood War, the Human Sanshayum Alliance, the Precursors. You could talk for a long time about that. No, we're 20 minutes in, and we're probably only like 2 minutes into this video, into the video he's watching. We're 20 minutes into my stream. He's 6 minutes in, which means he's probably only like 2 or 3 minutes into his video. Like, it is a girthy kind of story.
Biblical flood in Halo? That's awesome. That is amazing. That's awesome. I love Halo lore, officially. I love mixing in ancient human stories and myths and folklore and biblical stories, mixing it in with some ancient lore of aliens fighting 100,000 years ago. Yes, everything I wanted. This is amazing. This is all the lore that I love to see. Holy balls. I'm invested. I'm super invested.
finally starts to match up with the actual history of humans on Earth.
Wow.
This is us.
So, yeah. 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 So it seems like they obliterated as much of everything as they possibly can, and thanks to the librarian guy who kept little fucking different species in bubbles, was able to repopulate a brand new space, a brand new galaxy full of thousands of species of creatures developing on other worlds just to slow the flood down. So hopefully, if they do come back, you would be able to beat them. Oh my lord.
What's interesting about the flood is once they absorb enough biomatter, they become practically unstoppable. They can even create spaceships, warp drive networks, incredible technology that is beyond our capabilities, and it's because of all the biomass that they merge together with themselves.
That is crazy. Halo Trazyn goes crazy.
This is the line of humans we
The librarian was the Diadect's wife, right? So the Diadect is the Hitler guy, the fucking
Diadect.
dude who's wanting to create an army of robot monsters to wipe out all life to prevent the flood from growing. That's really interesting if you think about it. So you have a husband and wife. The wife gathers different genes of every different species to repopulate the world after they Samson the galaxy. All right? And you got the husband who goes another route. He decides he wants to mechanize and wipe out as much life as he possibly can to prevent the flood, which is a hive mind bioorganism from just absorbing everything and becoming an impossible threat. So one guy through
As far as I know, I think in the story, there is one part of the universe that the flood hit, and it is still controlled by the flood to this day.
basically he wanted to holocaust the place to prevent the flood from growing, and then you got the wife who decides we're just gonna gather shit so we could repopulate if some bad stuff actually happens. And these two are essentially the progenitors to the greater Halo plot. Damn.
Okay, so 2,500 years later, humanity has once again become a space fair.
Not really 2,500 years later. You gotta go 100,000 years later. 2,500 years post-Christ, yeah.
Species, not knowing that this is like the second or third time they've done that. Well, the Forerunner civilization lies forgotten and in almost complete ruin. Humanity, thinking itself alone in the galaxy, has its own problems. Colonies on the outer edges of human space feel oppressed by the older core worlds, and a civil war is well underway.
Yeah, so basically you have separatists who work in a similar way to how the Americans worked against the British in the 1700s. The outer colonies feel as though that they are not being represented properly. And they think that, oh, well, we don't want to deal with you anymore. You're not working with our best interest. We're just going to secede and hold our own thing. And so we basically get the human, we get a human, galactic war. Kind of. That's when we meet, that's why the Spartan 2s were created, was because it was a hope to use this uber powerful super soldier to quell these uprisings. And not long after, literally within a few months after the Spartans graduated from their training, the Human Covenant War pops off. It's like that. It's very quick.
Catherine Halsey of the UNSC forms the Spartan 2 project, a military operation that kidnapped a bunch of kids, replaced them with
Oh, that's where Master Chief comes from, right?
Yep.
He comes from one of these Spartan guys.
Yep. He is considered one of the 4 upcoming leaders in his class. It's him, Fred 104, Jerome 092, and my favorite of the non-shown Spartans in video games or visual media, Kurt 051. Love Kurt. Rest in peace, my buddy.
IRL so their parents wouldn't miss them, then subjected them to brutal experiments to turn them into hulking super soldiers.
Bro, dude, everything comes from Warhammer. Have you noticed that Warhammer 40k? Everything comes from Warhammer 40k.
Originally intended to crush the rebels / fight terrorism, depending on how you view things, the Spartans later became much more important once we made First Contact. And this time, First Contact would be with a race comprised of many races, all bundled together into a galactic army with nefarious goals and plenty of weaponry.
Yep, the Covenant, led by the Sanshayum, who used to be 100,000 years before this, our allies. There was a trading agreement. I think there was even relationships formed between humans and Sanshayum. Like, we were like the best of friends before the human flood war and the human forerunner war. Now, they hate our guts. But then again, we don't know about each other anymore. So that's why. Then you have the Sangheili, which are the elites. The Jiralhane, which are the brutes. The Ungoi, which are the grunts. The... What are the jackals again? I can't remember. Kigyar, the Kigyar. Then you got the engineers. I can't remember what they're called. Then you have the hunters. Let Golo, the Let Golo, that's what they're called. And they're all working together. And it started when the Sanshayum teamed up with the Sangheili, and it went from there.
This union of evil aliens calls itself the Covenant, and it's
That's the Covenant. Because I keep, dude, my friend Oompaville, he is such a crazy Halo nerd. He knows Halo lore like the back of his hand.
Why didn't you go to him? He would have told you everything from beginning to end when it comes to Halo. But come to me, Nux.
But
Like,
that
Nux, come to me. Literally, come to me, and I will tell you everything. It will literally be like drinking information through a fire hose. Like, that's what's gonna happen.
dude, like he mentioned the Covenant, the Flood. I heard all these terms floating around.
the Covenant invasion of a world called Harvest that sets all the events of the Halo series in motion.
Oh,
That's
God.
right. We just got to the content of one of the Halo games.
All right, so this was the prologue so far. So far, essentially, you have the Flood, this just existence of this hive mind fungus creature taking over the galaxy, and you get these people resetting the galaxy. And now, in a reset galaxy, where the Flood, I suppose, is, you know, gathering itself and becoming a threat once again, you get the Covenant invading.
Not really. At this point, the Flood's not really a threat. They're just kind of existing. They do exist on a shield world, and they exist on the Halo rings, but other than that, they're not really doing anything. They're just kind of chilling.
Humanity, fighting against the Spartans, which is a authoritarian fighting force developed by humans to crush rebellion and stop aliens. This is kind of based.
Specifically Halo Wars 1. This was all prologue, and I said it as fast as I
Wow,
could, and
that's
we're 4
wild.
minutes in. This is so okay. Pushing forward.
Yeah, you tried to get a whole story of Halo out in 5 minutes and just completely, like, you're skipping over so much stuff. Like, you're just getting the bare bones. Like, you haven't even broken the surface of the Halo story with this video.
Halo Wars. So
Understandable.
Covenant ships come and use plasma cannons to kill everything on Harvest and melt the soil into glass. It sucks. It turns out they targeted that particular planet because they lust for powerful Forerunner technology and artifacts, and a particularly juicy one lies buried on Harvest. It's a map leading to the locations of dozens of other also powerful Forerunner artifacts. The Covenant
Alright.
starts sweeping through the galaxy seeking these, wiping
Right, because obviously, I mean, you wouldn't realize something. But,
The main reason why the Covenant are going around killing humans is because, one, the Sanshayum, they found Forerunner artifacts a lot of High Charity is built through former Forerunner artifacts, and a lot of artifacts they found they can't access. And then they found out that humans can access them. So the Sanshayum, not wanting to lose their grip and power over the Covenant, basically said, "Oh, these people are heretics. We need to destroy them. Otherwise, they're going to pollute and pervert our God's material." And being the unquestioning cult loyalists that the Covenant are, they were like, "Okay." So that's what happened. They started killing humans. Like they never even questioned that none of the equipment, like they never questioned that all of the equipment that they're trying to access, that's Forerunner, cannot be accessed by any of them but humans. They just thought that they had polluted it and something like that. It's like, oh, because of their filth and pollution, they're the only ones who can access this stuff. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, it's so embarrassing for the Sanshayum.
the truth of the matter is the fact that there is ancient tech everywhere. Because remember, these Halo rings that just glassed all the planets, They didn't wipe out the technology. They were just biological weapons that wiped out life. So essentially, you do have these ancient artifacts from a far more advanced ancient civilization that's still just hanging around.
Out any humans who happen to be on planets that they want to dig up. One human ship, the Spirit of Fire, under the command of Captain James Cutter, follows the Covenant fleet to a world called Acadia. While investigating
There's always Acadia! Acadia stands.
our architect
Arcadia, yeah.
Side with the Covenant, bro.
there. Professor Ellen Anders is kidnapped by the Covenant and forced to activate a Forerunner dreadnought.
Rippa Morami,
Forerunner attack, which they swipe
the arbiter before our great one, Thelvadami.
Humans were the ones the precursors had intended to take over the mantle of responsibility. That's why you'll often hear humans referred to as reclaimers in the series. They're
Interesting, because they were the nation that was supposed to actually rebuild their empire to fight back against the Flood. The Covenant came.
No. The reason why is because the precursors wanted to pass their mantle to the humans. The Forerunners didn't like that. So the Forerunners decided, hey, fuck you, we're going to kill you and take your title, and we're going to be the ones who reclaim this stuff. And then millions of years later, guess what? It came back to bite them in the ass. So then they finally realized, fuck, okay, we're going to give the title that should have been theirs back to them. So guess what? All the equipment is now going to be going straight to the humans, and they're the only ones who can access it. It only took 100,000 plus years for us to finally touch this shit.
And essentially is trying to usurp what the ancient species had in mind.
the ones who are supposed to reclaim the mantle. The Spirit of Fire shows up, Anders escapes, and there's a showdown on a shield world. The humans discover Flood infesting the world, so they
Oh shit, Flood is not gone.
detonate their own
No, they're not.
to destroy the planet. This
You find Flood on the world and you just have to destroy the planet. It's like there's absolutely no chance.
One Flood spore can be the downfall of an entire species. That is how dangerous the Flood is.
You cannot leave one fucking Flood spore alive.
decimates the Covenant and prevents them from activating the shield world, which would have wiped out humanity. But without their hyperdrive, the SOF will take thousands of years to get back to friendly space, so the crew all freeze themselves and are considered lost in action. Most of humanity remains unaware of the Flood until a little later during the events of Halo Reach. In that one, the Galactic Civil War has advanced a pace, and now
This is probably the best Halo game. Full stop. Halo Reach is just chef's kiss, top tier. One of the best.
there's a Spartan 3 program. 3s are smaller knockoffs of
However, I will state that it kind of breaks canon because in this game, Halsey knows about the Spartan 3s, but in the book Ghost of Onyx, which takes place after the events of this game, she goes to Onyx where the 3s are being trained, and she's confused about how Spartan 3s could exist. So it breaks canon, actually.
Spartan 2s and aren't created by kidnapping kids. Noise. A squad comprised of some
Not kidnapping per se. The Spartan 3s are made using orphan children, and they're a lot looser with their criteria. The Spartan 2s were very strict. They wanted the proper genetics, like bone structure, muscle features, brain functions. They wanted perfect. That's what Halsey wanted. And it was expensive, too. She wanted, I think, 150 kids, but it was so expensive they had to slash it in half, so she only took 75, and of the 75, only like 30 some odd kids finished the course because the augmentations were very dangerous, very expensive, very intrusive. And then the Spartan 3 program, which is created using orphan children, the training is still tough. They use the exact same trainers who train the Spartan 2s, but it's a rushed program. It doesn't last as long. It took 8 years for the Spartan 2s to get their training done. I think the Spartan 3s got their training done in 3. Their augmentations were also chemical, less intrusive. Still very good, though. They were almost as powerful as Spartan 2s, but the armor they got, the SPI armor, was not nearly as durable as the Mjolnir armor. And they were able to train out 300 plus Spartan 3s. Like across all 3 confirmed classes of Spartan 3s, they got over almost like 1,000 total Spartan 3s. but they weren't created to do the same thing Spartan 2s were. Spartan 2s were meant to go in and get shit done. Spartan 3s were meant to sacrifice their lives to give humanity time. Like Operation Prometheus and Operation Torpedo. 300 Spartans across both of those operations went in to fulfill a mission. Across both operations, 2 total Spartan 3s survived. 600 Spartans, 300 per mission would go in, and only 2 would survive. None survived in Prometheus, and only 2 survived in Torpedo. Like, holy shit. I recommend Ghost of Onyx. It's one of the best Halo books.
3s into 2 called Noble Team are sent to the planet Reach in 2550.
Here's the thing about Noble Team. They also kind of break canon, because according to Ghost of Onyx, Alpha Company, which consists of 3, half of the Noble Team are Alpha Company. Carter, Emil, and June are Alpha Company members. 6 and Kat are Beta Company, and George is a Spartan 2. According to the book Ghost of Onyx, when they went through, when they were selecting their Spartan 3 candidates for the Alpha program, they said, only 300 of you can be in this program. The rest of you, guess what? You're going to be disqualified if you can't do something. So it breaks lore, because in the book it says only 300 are picked, and 300 went on that mission for Prometheus, and none of them survived. So Reach, even though it's one of the best games in the series, it breaks canon.
A squad comprised of some 3s into 2 called Noble Team are sent to the planet Reach in 2550.
It's the same thing with Beta Company.
Think is an insurrectionist plot, but which turns out to be yet another Covenant invasion.
Bro! Dude, so the Covenant, they're just consistently just showing up. They're just showing up to fuck with humanity whenever they get the chance, because humanity...
Not necessarily. They're showing up to places where Forerunner technology is confirmed to be. Humanity just happens to be there. It's like, why the fuck are these creatures everywhere? God damn it.
Humanity are like the chosen people, right, to actually pick up the mantle to fight back against the Flood, and the Covenant are warmongers that actually want all sorts of weaponry. So they keep butting heads with humanity every chance they get.
The team rescues Dr. Halsey, mother of the Spartan program, and fight to defend the planet, but soon realize the cause is lost. Halsey sends them to the ship Pillar of Autumn, along with a fragment of an advanced AI named Cortana. One of the Spartan 3s, June, escorts Cortana and the Doctor safely off planet while the rest of Noble Team dies in action. Sad. Halo Combat
Unfortunate.
Evolved was the first Halo game ever released, and its story falls neatly into this spot right here. Fleeing the Covenant,
Right,
on Reach,
chia.
Pillar of Autumn makes a blind slip space jump and winds up near one of the Halo rings, known as Installation 04. Captain Key decides to activate a legendary Spartan 2 by the name of John 117.
Oh my god, it's John!
Master Chief is ordered to protect the Cortana AI and flees from the Covenant.
Bro, that's the Cortana, bro. That's the fucking Cortana.
It's interesting because the way Halo 1 works is that you play half the game and then you do it again in reverse. After you play the library, you kind of play the game backwards. Well, not necessarily backwards, but you go through missions you've already been through again. Like the Truth and Reconciliation level, you go back again for keys. The level where you leave Cortana before you go off to Guilty Spark, you go back to that again, but then you play it like backwards to go from picking her up to destroying specific things. And then you have the Maw, which is just Pillar of Autumn, basically in reverse, and then there's like a little bit added.
Damn, the original AI from the original Halo game from millions of years ago. Dude, it's all coming together!
It is such a great game.
Ending up on the terraformed surface.
Aside from the fact that the Warthog feels like you're driving a Warthog on butter. Like every time you turn, it feels like the damn thing slides. Best weapon in the game, the Magnum pistol. The very first gun you get in the game is the best gun in the whole game, and then they nerfed it.
Cortana leads John to the Halo's control room, where he uses the consoles there to try and locate Captain Key. Instead, he runs into the Flood, who have taken over most of the POA's crew.
This is when the game basically felt like it went from an action shooter game to a horror game.
The Flood were held in captivity aboard the Halo, but the Covenant unleashed them by poking around. See, a bunch of the Covenant think that the Halos are religious artifacts and that they can transcend to paradise by activating them. Cortana and Master Chief
Interesting.
then run into 343 Guilty Spark, a little sentient...
So again, it's really interesting that they have all sorts of these wild, like they have so many of these really interesting references and multiple interpretations for many different things. Like you know, they want to attain paradise or whatever. You know, they don't know exactly what they're supposed to do. It's not like they got some sort of guidebook. They were the chosen people, humans, I mean, in a way to figure out what's actually going on. You know, trying to find the truth. He's called John 117. Look at John 117 in the Bible. Okay, that's crazy. Hold up. Yo, that's crazy. John 117. For the law that was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Christ. Bro's the chosen one. He's the chosen one. Okay, that's pretty fucking awesome. I'm not gonna lie, that's incredible. That's really cool. That is so cool. It's insane. The Great Journey to Atlantis. Yeah, no, it's a really interesting philosophy. It's a cool idea. They don't know exactly what they're supposed to be fighting for, but they were chosen to be the next generation of people that are supposed to bring this galaxy to peace and not be ever consumed by the Flood.
floating robot thingy that monitors the Halo installation. 343 tells them that the only way to wipe out the Flood on the Halo is to activate it, and helps them recover the activation index they need to do so. Right before pulling the ripcord on the Halo, Cortana discovers its true power, however. Specifically...
Yeah, Guilty Spark kind of, like, withheld the information that if you activate this thing, it's going to kill everything. He was like... He just said, we need to activate this to destroy the Flood. Okay. Cortana, that's going to kill us, buddy. And Chief looks like, good Chief. You could just, like, look at his visor and just see the look of, like, kind of like a pissed off, like, shockedness. Looks at Spark and goes, is that true? And then Spark just goes, pretty much. Doesn't even hide it.
That it'll wipe out all life in a 25,000 light year radius.
That's a lot of life. Yeah, but that's Halo, right? That's the Halo project that you want wipe out this massive group of life, because that's the only way to get rid of the Flood. They're just a completely invincible creation that needs to be wiped out to its core, or else they'll just keep growing forever.
That's a big radius. Cortana sends Chief to detonate the Pillar of Autumn's fusion reactor instead, much to Guilty Spark's chagrin.
Then it became a battle against 3 factions in Halo. You had to fight the Covenant, who were fighting the Flood, but you also had to fight the Flood. And then you also had to fight the Sentinels. It's like, damn, there's too much going on.
The Chief finds Captain Key, who's been absorbed by the Flood and is midway through being turned into a grave mine, rips out his neural implant, and uses it to blow up the drive. As the Halo disintegrates like some donut Death Star, Master Chief and Cortana fly into the sunset, or space set, whatever. In Halo 2, Master Chief's well-deserved
That's a pretty fucking based plot, I'm not gonna lie.
medal ceremony aboard a new...
Dude, I'm starting to understand why so many people are upset about modern Halo, you know? I'm starting to understand why people are so upset about modern Halo shit. Because that was goated. That plot was insane.
Mira's space station is interrupted by Covenant forces, who appear out of slip space and seem to be surprised to find humans occupying Earth. John 117 helps lead a counter-assault, ultimately forcing the Covenant...
Yeah. We're jumping really fast. Because he's trying to get as much done as he can in like 5 minutes. They were beyond surprised. Because even like, you know, Lord Hood, who is one of the highest ranking individuals in the UNSC. I think he is the highest ranking individual. When the Flood showed up, he was like, this is not right. The fleet that destroyed Reach was 50 times. Excuse me, 50 times the size of the one that came to Earth.
Flagship led by the Prophet of Regret, a Covenant hierarch, to flee by going into slip space right on top of the city of New Mombasa, leveling. Aboard a ship called the In Amber Clad, and under the command of Captain Key's daughter Miranda Keys, Master Chief and crew chase after, finding themselves popping out right next to another Halo. It turns out the Prophet of Regret intends to activate the ring to wipe humans off of Earth.
Yo! So the Halos, which were these super weapons designed to wipe out life, which were designed hundreds of thousands of years before humans inhabited Earth. Alright? You gotta realize this before all of that happened, these halos existed in space as gigantic failsafes to flood invasions. But the Covenant wants to activate them to wipe out their enemies, dude. Oh, Lord.
So Master Chief fights his way onto the Halo to the Prophet and punches him to death. Bet he's got one more regret now. Just then, a flying Covenant capital city called High Charity appears and starts to blast the Halo with plasma cannons. On board the city ship, a whole other storyline is playing out. See, when a member of the Covenant is disgraced, they are sometimes given the title of Arbiter and sent on important suicide missions to redeem themselves.
Bro, dude, the Covenant culture must be so interesting too. It feels like there's so much lore in all of these random details. The Covenant culture's gotta be ganger.
Think of them as the Covenant Spartans.
Oh my god.
Okay, so he's talking about the Arbiter now. So here's the thing about the Arbiter. Like, what did he say about the Arbiter? What the fuck just happened?
Sometimes give whole other storyline is playing out. See, when a member of the Covenant is disgraced, they are sometimes given the title of Arbiter and sent on important suicide missions to redeem themselves.
Interestingly, only in the last 400 years was the title Arbiter considered a bad thing. It wasn't until this guy, Arbiter Fal Shavami, basically existed and became the Arbiter, because from him before, the Arbiter used to be considered like the greatest of the great. Like, they were the most powerful, they were the most well-trained, they were warriors of high esteem. And it wasn't until him that it went from being a prestigious title to a disgraceful title, because he wanted to change how the elites worked, because he did not believe in the Great Journey. He thought that the Great Journey was a lie. He did not believe in it. Which at a time was a rank of privilege was in the Covenant. Like, it was considered like the highest rank you could get. Right around here, he believed his people had strayed from the honor and fought only for power. And it wasn't, like, because of this, he was declared a heretic, and after what he did, the Arbiter, it basically fell. Yeah, so they believed it as, you want to get your honor back after disgracing us, be the Arbiter, and you will go on and be, you die in battle, you get your honor back. But let's see, hang on. Because there's hundreds of Arbiters. There's only 3 named, but there were hundreds. Granted, when it started, like, the Arbiter title changed, like, all the time. Like, this guy was considered, he was called the Judge King, I think. He was the judge, jury, and executioner. If he didn't like it, if he didn't like someone or he didn't like something, he would basically kill everybody. And then you get to later Avatar. Yes, Judge King, tyrannical Arbiter. And then you get another Arbiter who led against the Sang-Shayum before leading them to before they became partners. And then you get an Arbiter who was the reason why the Hunters joined the group. Let's see if there's a picture of him, because he looks like the aerial elites. God, I couldn't fucking figure out the name of it. Should be a picture. Well, there's not a picture of him. Like, this is the Arbiter right here. This is the Hunters without their armor. They're just giant worms. Hang on. There's a picture of him, because I've seen it. There he is. Pull him up. That's the Arbiter. You can see how different he looks in comparison to other Arbiters. But yeah, Fall Shavami was the last arbiter who had the title when it was an honorable, like, high-ranking position.
Bro, dude, the Covenant culture must be so interesting too. It feels like there's so much lore and all these random details. The Covenant culture's got to be ganger.
Think of them as the Covenant Spartans.
Oh my god. Covenant martyrs, redeeming themselves and their families. A warrior culture.
The Arbiter we care about, called the Arbiter, accepts his new title and is sent to wipe out the Heretics, a Covenant splinter group that broke off when they discovered the truth about the Halo rings.
Dude. So the Covenant itself has rebels against themselves, and they use their own soldiers to fight against their own heretics. They are their own gigantic culture too.
Namely, that they aren't portals to heaven, but rather death loops of destruction. The Arbiter, who does believe in the religious nature of the Halos, at least for now, runs into Guilty Spark while defeating the Heretics. 3/4.
Dude. So it's not just a warrior culture. It's a warrior religion.
Yep.
It's a religion that focuses on martyrdom and expansionism. Oh my god.
3GS to the Arbiter is a great oracle and
Space ISIS? Alright, dude, I don't know.
seer of religious truths. Just as 343 is about to disabuse the Arbiter of this notion, a Covenant brute commander appears and captures the little bot. That wraps up that mission, so the Arbiter returns to High Charity, only to find that the political climate has changed dramatically since the Prophet of Regret got punched to death.
So one of their prophets ended up getting brutalized and murdered, and then after the
Yeah, after that happened, the elite basically lost all favor, and the brutes took over.
prophet died, it's like the whole religious culture kind of shifted. Dude, the parallels to like actual different civilization and cultures in real life is
A lot of this stems from the Prophet of Truth not liking the elites. He felt as though that they were way too smart, and he wanted to quell that by hopefully finding any chance he could to try and have the elites removed from the power they had. So the death of Regret just helped his cause. So he had all the elites moved from very high-ranking positions and replaced them with the brutes, the Jiril Hane. Namely because they're kind of stupid. Brutes are really fucking stupid. Like, their planet was at one point at spacefaring level. Then they had an all-out war that knocked them back down to the Bronze Age. Like pre-revolutionary shit. Like, these guys are stupid. They're dumb motherfuckers.
It's fucking scary. Like, dude, I mean, we're all thinking the same thing. But like, damn, they are cooking.
The Sangheili, the Covenant race of which the Arbiter is one, have been dethroned as the official guards of the Hierarch class and have been replaced by brutes of the same sort that captured 343. The Arbiter stays on as
What probably doesn't help, like, the elite's cause. Well, I wouldn't say helps the elite's cause, but didn't help the Sanshayum was that they took away power and nobility from their oldest comrades in the Covenant. It used, like, the Sanshayum and the Sangheili started the Covenant.
Arbiter, however, and is sent on a new mission, recovering the activation index for this latest Halo ring. He heads to the library where the key resides and captures Captain Keys to boot. That's two captured
That's two keys being captured at the
Incorrect. Commander Keys.
same time.
keys for those keeping track at home.
Alright, thanks.
She's an 05, not an 06.
He gets ambushed by the same brute from before named Tartarus, who has in fact been ordered by the Hierarch to take him out and complete the dethronement of the Sangheili. Tartarus tosses the Arbiter into a hell pit, which in Greek mythology
God.
is also called a
Tartarus, we got it.
Yep.
which is confusing, and he's
It's not confusing, okay? They just like referencing this stuff.
caught by a full-grown flood Gravemind. At this point, the Arbiter's story intersects with Master Chief's, since she
That is wild.
Yep.
So the reason why we needed to go through this whole crazy rebellion, multiple factions in the Covenant splitting up, one of them getting absorbed by the flood, and basically space hell, is because this now intersects with our ghost.
Chief has also been captured by the same Gravemind. The Flood convinces Master Chief and the Arbiter to work together, since all three of them want to keep the Covenant from activating the Halo.
You know, this would have been a lot better had he notified the like had he been telling like not telling had he been basically making the Flood not attack either of them while they were going through their missions, but no. On High Charity, you had to fight both the Flood and the Covenant.
Reasoned with?
Yeah, they're a hive mind. Like, Nux, you need to watch the first cutscene with the Grave Mind, and you'll find that he's not a mindless brute. He actually, like, his very first words are very, like, poetic in a sense. Like, he's a breath of fresh air when it comes to zombie creatures. He's not brainless. He's not stupid. Literally what he says is, "I am a monument to all your sins." That's his very first words when you see him on screen.
I am in shock. I totally thought they were just a hive mind that just came out to wipe out everything as much as possible. The terrible fact about the Grave Mind is that it isn't its final form. Yeah, obviously they want to absorb everything. So basically, the Flood is an intelligent force. They want to consume everything in the galaxy.
Yeah, it got this bad on this Halo because of, what was his number? 2401 Penitent Tangent? Was that his name? Yeah, 2401 Penitent Tangent. Okay. Damn, I can still remember it.
But at the same time, these Halos are the ultimate threats to the Flood's existence because they'll wipe it out on the biological level. So essentially, what these Grave Minds are doing is trying to work with Covenant factions as well as human factions to prevent the activation of the Halo, which would save you but also keep the Flood alive.
Yeah, there's always a higher purpose. The humans know that if we activate the Halo, we're fucked. The Flood knows if they activate the Halo, my food's gone.
Now remember, the moment this works, bro, the moment this actually works and they do stop the Halo, the Flood is just gonna absorb Master Chief and the Covenant.
Yeah, look at that. It's like he's played Halo 3.
They are the ultimate Giga threat. Someone in my chat just told me that the Flood only becomes intelligent once it reaches the tier of Grave Mind. Bro.
Grave Mind teleports our bad boys right to the Halo control.
Kind of, I would say. Because they take in the information and the knowledge of the people they've infected. And the Grave Mind is basically, it's just a hodgepodge of all of those components pushed together. And it gains the sum total intelligence of all the beings it's absorbed.
Control room, where Tartarus is about to use the Index and Captain Key to activate the ring. The Arbiter kills Tartarus and they stop the Halo from firing,
Love
at
that.
least this time. But what's that? Unintended consequences. 343 Guilty Spark explains that aborting the firing triggered a system standby mode that allows all the rings in the Halo array to be fired remotely should...
Yep.
Remotely
It's actually a pretty interesting idea because if say like during the Forerunner Flood War, they were trying to activate one Halo ring and the Flood stopped them before they got a chance to truly fire it off, then once that notification was sent to the Ark, the Forerunners over there could be like, "Oh, Twinkles his toes and piss shoes has died. We need to activate the Halo array from here where the Flood's not at." So boom, they can activate the Halo array from the Ark, firing all the Halo arrays.
firing the Halo.
Not a bad idea.
God damn.
They need to be from Installation 00, the Lesser Ark. That means even though this Halo isn't going to fire right now, the Cosmic Football has been fumbled and is live. And if the Covenant can leap onto the Ark before humanity does, they can really burn
Ooh,
the
they got
Ark
close.
down in a hurry.
I mean, they can activate all the Halos and clean the entire toilet of the galaxy.
Midst of all
Yeah.
this madness, Master Chief also infiltrates High Charity, discovers a plot by the Prophet of Truth to attack Earth yet again.
And there goes Mercy.
Classic.
It's the tough decision to give chase and save the world, even though it means leaving the Halo and putting the whole galaxy at risk. He leaves Cortana behind with explicit orders to detonate the In-Amber Clad, since that's the only way we seem to have figured out to blow up a Halo. He uses a fancy gravity catapult to shoot himself
Right,
toward
cool.
the Forerunner Dreadnought the Covenant have been using as their flagship, and plans to commandeer it back to Earth.
And then he does something that's quintessential Spartan. Once the ship gets to Earth's higher orbit, he leaps off of it and just free falls down to the planet, crashing.
Meanwhile, the High Charity itself has been evacuated by the Covenant and completely taken over by the Flood Grave.
Obviously, because now that the Halo is officially been neutralized, it's time for the Flood Gravemind to take over everything that they can.
Gravemind, who keeps
The Flood can affect AI. I know, we saw.
Cortana captive in the systems of the ship. Okay.
Wow, dude.
Halo 3.
That was insane. That's a really good plot too, not gonna lie.
Woof. So, Master Chief plummets into
Woof.
Earth's atmosphere, yeah? And he gets found by the Arbiter and Sergeant Johnson, his pals from Halo 2, right? Well, they find out that the Prophet...
He only became pals with the Arbiter after he put a gun in his mouth. Only because he didn't know the Arbiter was with him. He saw the Arbiter, just takes a pistol and just jams it right in his mouth.
Truth returned to Earth in order to find a portal
Bro.
to the Lesser Ark that the
Come on, dude.
Forerunners placed.
This is why you double tap. This is why you
We have also kind of ignored Halo 3 ODST because this Halo 3 ODST actually takes place between Halo 2 and 3.
double tap. All right, I have people in my chat saying he skipped OTSD, and I have no idea.
Yeah, ODST. His chat said that, yeah. Halo 3 ODST actually takes place after the level in the city of Halo 2, but before the events of Halo 3. So it's kind of like Halo 2.5.
Idea what that means.
Under New Mombasa. He plans to go through it and activate the entire Halo array at once, which it turns out is why the Covenant came to Earth in the first place. A
Great.
battle ensues, but the Prophet and some of his forces are able to slip through the portal, just as a flood-infested ship crash lands with a message from Cortana urging Master Chief to head to the Ark post-haste.
What is it? More brutes? Worse.
The UNSC fleet, plus 343 Guilty Spark, who has nothing better to do, all head through the slip space portal and arrive at Installation 00 with the Flood hot on their heels and in pursuit of the Covenant.
Damn.
The Flood are
Damn,
looking for
shot
a High
right
Charity
out of the
to
ship.
Ark, which is good because otherwise you wouldn't have
That's
had
unlucky.
to shoot at during
Yeah, it's great. It's great when the Flood wipes out the Covenant, but it's also bad that the Flood keeps getting more powerful.
the game. The Prophet of Truth captures
Now, people are saying ODSD are orbit droppers. They're like the hell jumpers. All right, dude. Maybe we'll get there later.
Johnson and uses him as a human key, activating the Halo array.
Nice.
But
Not really, because we've skipped that part. We've skipped that part. Unless he wants to try and talk about it by like saying, "Oh, we got to go back." Don't forget, this is like this is a basic overview. So I think he's just going to talk about the broad story before Halo. Then he's going to talk about Wars, Halo Reach, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Infinite. I don't even think he's going to get to Spartan Ops.
But before it can
Because once again, human chosen people. So everyone's using them for their very DNA.
fire, the Chief and Arbiter strike yet another uneasy truce with the Flood, fight their way to the Prophet of Truth, and choke him to death. Mixing it up. Choking. It's the new punching. Master Chief
Nice.
He didn't choke him to death. He choked him, basically talked shit to him, and then stabbed him with his energy sword.
activates the array, saving
Love
the
that.
galaxy, and the Flood immediately turn on him because, in case you forgot, they're evil. 3, 4.
Yeah, no, the Flood. They
Well,
were
they're hungry.
allies, bro. I don't know. Was he actually blindsided? He's like, Flood Gravemind. I can't believe it. We fought together for so long.
No, they were not blindsided. They knew it was a temporary thing.
We were literally on the same side, fighting every single day together. We were allies, best of friends. Come on, bro. What are we talking about, bro? This is fucking space hive mind that wants to consume all life. You really think that he wasn't gonna betray you?
4-3, Master Chief and the Arbiter all escape and discover the nature of the Ark on their way out the door.
So wait, so the Arbiter remains friends with humanity even though he's a Covenant guy?
No, they stopped being part. They stopped being a part of the Covenant at the end of Halo 2 because the Covenant betrayed them, and then of course the Arbiter was able to notify the rest of his race that. Well, not the rest of them. There are still Sangheili members that believe in the Great Journey, but the ones who he was able to get to, he was able to tell them, hey, yeah, that there's no such thing as the Great Journey. This thing's not gonna bring us to Wonderland, whatever the fuck it was. I can't remember. It's gonna kill us.
Generates halos, and that it's currently in the
They knew a double cross was coming, they just needed to do it. Got it.
middle of producing a new Halo to replace the one destroyed at the end of Halo Combat Evolved. They form a new plan to activate the Halo while it's still way out here, near the Ark, but away from the rest of the galaxy. This would kill all the Flood aboard the Ark, but leave
Base.
the galaxy unscathed.
Base, that's literally what the Halos are made for. They are giant flood-killing nukes.
Solid plan. They save Cortana.
They're not a flood killing nuke. It's a biological killing nuke that will make the flood starve to death, basically. But it clearly didn't work because it was fired 100,000 years before the events of Halo, and the Flood were still wandering around pretty fine. They were just hungry. Like, imagine being hungry for 100,000 years and you're still alive and kicking.
From High Charity, blowing it up and killing the Gravemind.
Nice.
Everyone evacuates the Ark except Master Chief Johnson, the Arbiter, Cortana, and 343. Guilty
it.
Spark wants them to wait until the Halo is complete before firing it, fearing it will shake apart and destroy itself if triggered too early. But
That's the point!
Master Chief has different ideas, wanting to fire ASAP since the Flood Gravemind is already beginning to rebuild itself. 343 kills Sergeant Johnson for trying to activate the Halo early. Chief
God,
takes out
Johnson!
his current shell and activates the ring. As predicted, the ring wipes out the Flood, but also shakes itself apart, forcing Chief to dramatically flee to the ship Forward Unto Dawn. As the FUD
Damn.
disappears through a slipstream portal, the portal closes, cutting the ship in half, with the Arbiter back in Earth space and the Chief and Cortana adrift in uncharted waters.
Yo,
Yep.
that is a cool way to end a fucking battle. So you got Master Chief in.
For fuck, what was it? 5 years? This was the ending of Halo. Like, basically, the Chief was just floating around in space for 4 years in game, 5 years for us. And then Halo 4 started, and it was created by 343, which does not have a great track record of making great Halo games. They're okay. 5, in my opinion, being the worst one because the advertisements fucking lied. 4 was okay. Infinite was better. 5 is probably the worst of the 343 games, but they don't hold a candle to Bungie. Bungie was just chef's kiss. Best story that they could have written. And they had to change it.
Slip space, whatever, somewhere randomly. No one knows where the fuck they are. It's just floating around somewhere in space. And then you got the Arbiter, a Flood, who's kind of just now just with the humans.
The Chief puts himself into cryosleep and awaits rescue.
Understandably, he is in a half a ship. He's not going anywhere. In middle of space, just fucking somewhere. Just, you know, he puts himself in cryo sleep. One day, whenever he is found, they'll wake him because there's no point just being awake and age.
2 years later, Halo 4 kicks off with Dr. Halsey being tried for her crimes. Remember?
Love that. Oh my god.
It's Baby Chief.
What's it called? Child experimentation retards getting tried for their crimes? Hell yeah.
But it seems kind of one-sided because they didn't try Colonel Ackerson for his work with the Spartan 3 project. Maybe I guess because, oh, well, they were orphans. It doesn't count. These children had families and everything. It was children soldiers across 2 different generations of Spartans. The youngest of the Spartan 3s was like 9 years old when she died.
Yeah, dude.
She kidnapped those children and made them super soldiers. Well, Cortana finally awakens the Chief because their ship has been boarded by Covenant. John and Cortana soon discover that the Forward Unto Dawn has drifted into Covenant space near the Shield World Requiem, where the Didact has been imprisoned this whole time.
Unlike before, the Covenant are no longer a powerhouse that they were during the events of the first 3 Halo games. They're now a fractured Splinter Cell, basically. So they've lost all their power, all their resources and everything.
Covenant faction
No, they're not gonna wake up the fucking space Nazis.
calling themselves the Remnants are attempting to awaken him. Upon scanning
Yep.
Waking an ancient alien race that was too dangerous for the fucking ancient superpowers. This is a terrible idea.
realizing he's a human reclaimer and therefore capable of making the tech work, the Shield World automatically opens a big hole in its surface and sucks everyone in, destroying the Forward Unto Dawn. John 117 awakens on the inside surface of the Inside Out planet. It's like a Halo, but rounder. To make matters worse,
Basically.
the planet starts acting weird and explains the AIs undergo an aging process called rampancy. They don't age and die, but they eventually become corrupted and essentially go crazy, which
That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. What are you talking about?
has begun in
It just happens.
Ouch. To save Cortana, Chief
It happens after 7 years, and unfortunately, Cortana was made 8 years prior to the game.
Can help. Chief fights his way through the remnants and the Didact's leftover Prometheans, finally reaching the Cartographer, a mapping system that reveals there's another UNSC ship nearby, the
Alright.
Infinity. It
That's
flew
good.
through the hole in the shield world and seems like their ticket out of here.
I don't know, bro. Seems like
This is really introduced one of like the stupidest Spartans, Spartan Palmer. I'm one of the people who don't like her because like she comes off as like uber cocky. Like the first thing she says when she sees Chief is, "Thought you'd be taller." He didn't say anything because he didn't know, like there was like no representation. Like all I could think of was he was looking at her like, "Who the fuck are you and why are you wearing my team's armor? Why are you wearing my group's armor?" And then she spends like the rest of the series that we see her between Halos 4, 5, and Spartan Ops kind of just being an unlikable bitch.
you really need some fucking reinforcements ASAP. He is sitting there among Covenant air warships.
You see,
while
we
the
like
Remnants are trying to
Kelly and
recruit
Linda. We love
ancient Nazi
Kelly and Linda.
soldiers.
They were great.
This is a terrible
Palmer?
idea.
Cortana
Nope.
and Chief attempt to warn the Infinity of the dangers, but can't make contact, and instead encounter a strange
That
hovering
sucks.
metal object when they physically track
He is the reinforcements. Oh god.
down the signal they
Bro's just out there fucking soloing shit.
thought was the ship. Turns out it's the Didact's jail cell, which then opens,
No!
releasing the ancient asshole and giving Halo 4 its main antagonist.
Yeah, this is terrible. Why didn't they kill that guy?
Because the Forerunners were stupid as shit.
Bro. Why didn't they kill that guy? They just had this guy around.
They were dumb as fuck.
For hundreds of thousands of years, just sealed there. They just fucking sealed Space Hitler down there forever. Come on, dude.
The Didact quickly overpowers Master Chief and declares the return of Forerunner primacy in the galaxy.
Right, because the Forerunners are the ancient superpower, right? The
Yep.
ancient superpower. They essentially had to sacrifice themselves.
They
to stop
stole
the
their
Flood
title.
Completely taken over.
They stole our title.
They stopped the flood, but they somehow kept this guy around in fucking stasis.
We'll see how that works out. After some more laser fights, Chief makes his way through Covenant and Promethean alike to arrive at the real Infinity, where he meets a Spartan 4 called Palmer and the ship's commanding.
Oh, fucking I forgot about Del Rio. Next to Palmer, he's the worst. He's actually the worst in Halo 4. He's a piece of shit.
Captain Del Rio.
But she's unlikable.
Alright.
Is to destroy the gravity well at the heart of the shield world, allowing the Infinity to jump away. Just then, John has a vision of the Librarian, the Didact's wife who betrayed him back in the day when he first went power mad. She explains the whole history of the
True.
Forerunners from the beginning of this video. That is,
The fact that, they showed up, the flood was there, she had to seal away her Hitler husband.
Kind of had
lived life throughout the
a
galaxy.
rough time, to say the
So
least.
is he literally just explained to by essentially some ancient deity that you are the chosen one, the chosen people?
the player learned all the stuff about the Forerunners.
That's crazy.
Neat. The Librarian
That is so cool. So this is where the original lore drop happened.
explains that now that he's awake, the Didact's plan will certainly be to grow the ranks of the Prometheans by using a composer to trap the souls of all the humans in the galaxy.
Yeah, obviously, because he's trying to extract the souls from people to create an army of mechanized soldiers that are immune to the flood.
You know, that classic jam. She also does some whooshy magic that makes Master Chief immune to being composed.
Love that.
Double neat. Captain Del Rio
Cool.
notices that Cortana's showing signs of rampancy and orders her handed over for reformatting or whatever. Which
Nope.
the Chief doesn't cotton to. Instead, he steals Cortana and a
Hang on, I'm gonna pull up the greatest video. Hang on. What the fuck just happened? Lore accurate Chief versus Del Rio.
Move the chip now, Commander. Give me that chip.
The Didact has to be stopped.
And now we're on a different
If you won't do that,
cutscene.
I will.
Poke. Bitch. Now we're back to the original.
I'm ordering you to surrender that AI.
Gets his shit slapped. Lore accurate Chief slapping the dog shit out of Captain Del Rio.
Arrest that man! Arrest him!
And then for some reason,
No, sir.
hang on.
Arrest that man!
For some reason, we've got 3/4 of Fireteam Osiris with Sarah Palmer and baby Spartan Locke for some fucking reason in a Santa hat. And Chief's like, I got this shit. Take your lollipop and go hide, baby Locke. And then he just beats the shit out of all of them. Just slaps the dog shit out of him.
To surrender that AI!
I don't see that. Why? Why is he pointing at baby Locke? He's one of yours. Chief, being the humanitarian he is like, okay, I got this. Here. You can have this. No need to hurt anybody. And the wind up in the balls. Oh, it's one of the greatest videos ever. Just beats the dog shit out of Captain Del Rio.
Pelican ship and goes rogue on a quest to slay the Didact. He
Alright.
follows the Didact's ship through a portal to Ivanov's station where a composer resides. The Didact immediately uses said composer to turn the whole crew of the station into ashes, then speeds toward Earth, planning to burn us or make us into evil robots, with Master Chief hot on his trail.
God
The Didact
damn.
composes the entire population of New Phoenix, which is a city, before
Oh,
rapidly
damn.
going rampant Cortana helps Master Chief fight his way to
Well,
the Didact's inner sanctum.
rip New Phoenix.
Dispatches the
Alright.
Didact with a
Base.
well-placed Forerunner pulse grenade.
Holy shit. So he actually fights the Didact like single-handedly? Like this dude's actually goated. I mean, listen, he's no Doom guy, but he's goated.
The Chief
He doesn't kill him right here.
annually detonates a nuke to destroy the composer, and Cortana teleports him away from the blast and into near-Earth space where he gets picked up by the Infinity. Sadly, Cortana, also bids her old friend goodbye and
Wait, she actually dies? Wait, she actually just...
And then they ruined her story in Halo 5. They had to
unknown.
reverse course in Halo Infinite to like make a new Cortana that's not this Cortana from Halo 5. Like, holy shit, they took one of the best characters and ruined her.
Remnant faction for New
She'll be back, don't worry.
Phoenix, rather than the Didact, who seems to vanish after a long time apart.
Oh, Blue Team! The greatest team in gaming history.
Master Chief is finally reunited with his
I'm lying, but I love this
squad,
team.
Blue Team, and they're sent on a mission to discover the
Yeah.
origins of the composer since it's such a threat. They ultimately discover the Composer's Forge, an installation that makes composers much like the Ark makes Halos. And guess who's there turning the crank and pumping out composers? That's right, our old disavowed pal, the Didact.
There he is. He's just...
I don't know if he's going to mention it, but the Didact got found by Spartan Black Team and killed them all. I think he ripped one or two of their heads off.
just everywhere now. Apparently he's just like the ultimate random enemy that just awoke from some ancient slumber. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of this Didact guy's plotline.
Chief kills him again.
Yeah, how do you think we felt?
And
No.
Blue Team destroy.
You mean they kill this supervillain, this ancient
In a comic
enemy
book.
guy? They kill him in a fucking comic spin-off?
Yeah, they realized they didn't want to focus on his story anymore, so then they tried to change course with Halo 5, and then that flopped with its storyline. Then they had to change course again for Halo Infinite by taking an interesting story from Halo Wars 2. Which, by the way, the cutscenes in Halo Wars 2, top tier. Red Team, pretty goated. Jerome, goated more.
No. No.
all the composers and the Forge. But forget Halo 4. Halo 4 is gone now. Halo 5.
I'm sorry, hold up, hold the fuck up.
all the composers and the Forge. But
Why does this look like Isaac Clarke? Is this supposed to be Fred? He looks like Isaac Clarke from Dead Space.
forget Halo 4. Halo 4 is gone now. Halo 5 Guardians starts in the year 2558, and Covenant attacks have only gotten worse since the Prometheans have rejoined the fight. A team of shiny new Spartan
Okay.
4s fired.
Aside from Buck, Osiris is a lame-ass team. Locke was introduced in a live-action, like, Halo, like, short series. Don't give a damn about him, and he's the leader. Love Buck, because he was one of the main characters in Halo 3 ODST. And he still wears the ODST helmet, just a Spartan variant of it.
Their team Osiris are sent to kill Jewel Madama, leader of a Covenant splinter group that have occupied a planet
Understandable.
called Kamchatka, and host Dr. Halsey, who fled to avoid the outcome of her trial from the last game. They take back the planet, kill Jewel, and recapture Halsey, who warns of a much graver threat on the horizon and tries to leverage that intel to make a deal. While
Not gonna lie. So this plot is just they send an elite team to kill some Covenant guys. Like,
This whole video game was advertised back when it came out in, like, what was it, 2015? Of Master Chief versus Locke. It was meant to be like a Spartan war. But then you play the game, you never fight either. You never play as either fighting one another. They fight in a cutscene, that's it. And then you spend most of the game playing as Fireteam Osiris, who you don't give two shits about. You play as Blue Team for like 4 total missions across like 12 to 18 levels. Most of it's spent with Fireteam Osiris. Again, you don't give a fuck about them. Only one person on the team you know of, the rest are basically unknown fuckheads.
After the crazy shit we've seen until here, the amazing world building, the lore dives, the personalities of the different characters intertwining, making alliances, like this is essentially just... And a bunch of fucking epic soldier guys. Go in and kill some Covenant.
And here's the kitchen sink. That's basically it. We're gonna jump the shark while we're throwing the kitchen sink at you.
Guys.
While on the mission, Osiris also witnessed something disturbing. Covenant seemingly losing control of their Promethean Forerunner foot soldiers. At the same time, Blue Team and Master Chief are off fighting Covenant.
This is a pretty badass
in
cutscene.
space when John 117 suddenly receives a cryptic mental message from Cortana.
Oh my god, it's Cortana.
Meridian is next. So, once again against orders and doing what his rampant AI girlfriend tells him to, Master Chief goes rogue, this time taking Blue Team with him, and they all head to the planet Meridian.
Okay.
Fireteam Osiris, armed with a mobilization
Because he got a vision thing.
devices, are sent after them. This leads to a confrontation in which Chief fistfights Locke, the leader of Osiris, and flips it on him, immobilizing him with one of his own immobilizers. Blue Team presses on. Ultimately, they discover the existence of yet another killer Forerunner tech,
The Guardians also went nowhere. You never fight them. They're always in the background. Because this storyline went fucking nowhere, there's basically no Guardians. Like, you see, like, a deactivated Guardian in the background of Halo Infinite, but that's it. Like, goddamn, they really fucked with the story so hard.
Dude, stop. No! What? You're just gonna hit me with, oh my god, we discovered a new completely epic superpower that totally existed this whole time.
Giant neon Evangelion look.
Dude, is this where Halo fell off? Be honest in chat. Is this where Halo fell off? Because I know
Yes.
at some point it falls off, and a lot of people in the Halo fandom get really pissed. Is this the fall off point? Yes. Yes, I'm getting a lot of yeses. All right. I'm glad. I see why people are mad. I see why people are mad. Until
If they could give it back to the people who made it originally, then maybe they could salvage a lot of what Halo has become. Or they just go back and just reset the origin altogether. Like, do a reboot, because holy fuck, they really fucked with this with Halo.
this game, it's been
Like, I've played Halo 4, I've played Halo 5, beat them, never went back to them. I have played and gone back to Infinite, mainly because once you get the Infinite, like, skull, I just Spider-Man my way around the map, which is fun. But I could play Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo ODST, Halo Reach, all day, every day. I could do that nonstop. 4 or 5, I can skip them. I don't care.
straight fire.
Looking angel robots designed to fly around policing the galaxy with their super weapons. The first Guardian emerges on Genesis, a planet with a connection to the Domain, which is
Oh, Bible reference. It's so frustrating because in the original, in like the last couple of games, the Bible references weren't just names from the Bible, right? They were actual like the history of the Bible and the creation of the world could be interpreted in the very fabric.
It was
that
subtle.
made
It was subtle.
humanity grow. This is
The Ark, the Flood, Forerunners, everything like that. It was subtle.
a dramatic fall off.
the mysterious plane from which
It's also like the fact that there's no Flood. The Flood was like a great portion of the Halo lore and mythos. Granted, when they introduced the Banished, it did get interesting.
Cortana is operating. She claims that the Forerunners have cured her rampancy, but that's arguable because the new plan is to take control of the Guardians herself. See, she thinks she'll do a better job of guarding humanity than, well, humanity.
Yeah, that's definitely dark.
Basically treating us like
Give me
pets.
control of literally all of your power. I will be in charge. I can do a better job protecting you than even you can. Yes, I definitely trust you.
Classic I Cortana move. Fire Team Osiris travel to Sanghelios, a Covenant homeworld, and help the Arbiter put down remnant forces there in exchange for his help catching up to Blue Team. To do so, they hitch a ride aboard a Guardian, which carries them to the staging area on Genesis. Once there, Osiris encounter another Forerunner monitor, 031 Exuberant Witness, who's in the process of being remolded and just generally pushed around by Cortana. Not happy about that, 031 aids Osiris in reaching Blue Team, hoping they'll eventually kick Cortana out of Exuberant Witness's systems. The teams meet again, and Locke explains that Cortana is attempting to usurp the mantle of responsibility for herself. The chief
Because no shit, yeah, when an AI says, let me just take complete control over your planet, I'm doing it for you guys. Yeah, you don't trust the AI, obviously.
tries
Nope.
to talk her
Cortana became Skynet. Oh my lord. Like, most obvious generic AI plotline of all time. I see why people were upset. I see why people are upset.
down, but she refuses, immobilizes Blue Team, and attempts to kidnap them. Fire Team Osiris recover Blue Team and return control of Genesis to Exuberant Witness, forcing Cortana to flee aboard another Guardian.
No, your AI girlfriend got away.
AI across the galaxy suddenly starts
Oh, I forgot about the Warden. Fuck, I forgot about him. I told you this like it fell off hard when 343 took control of the story.
pledge their allegiance to Cortana, but one AI, the control AI,
All the other AI are now allied with this AI, and this AI is the leader of the other AI. Cortana used to be a cool character, and now is just generic AI.
Yeah, the writing became uber shit.
ship Infinity named Roland remains loyal and makes an emergency slip space jump in order to escape her widening sphere of influence. Because it's not a Halo game if it doesn't end with an emergency slip space jump that
True.
sets up the next game. This game ends with Blue Team and Fire Team Osiris meeting up again on Sanghelios, along with the Arbiter, Palmer the Spartan 4, and everyone's favorite walking moral gray area, Dr. Catherine Halsey. Technically speaking, the events of Halo Wars 2 come a little later in 2859. After 28 years drifting
Something is
in
going on with my
space,
kick.
Spirit of Fire, remember the original ship with Captain Cutter and Alan Anders?
This fixed. This was an interesting story that fixed a lot of the problems that happened between 4 and 5.
Board finally awakens. Upon doing so,
By introducing a brand new faction called the Banished, which was a lot more interesting. You get the character of Atriox and his group, you know, originally Covenant forces, then they basically break off into their own thing, and they become a force between human and Covenant. And the Banished were interesting because they don't care if you were Covenant or if you were a human. Like, if you want to join their forces, they'll let you.
they realize they've been forcibly transported to right near the Lesser Ark, old
Of course.
Installation 00. An
That's
aggressive
awkward.
Covenant faction called the Banished have occupied the Ark, and SOF forces begin a surface campaign against them while simultaneously trying to find a way to contact the UNSC. They
All right.
finally realize
So the Banish, are they like the orcs?
that the Ark is currently mid-build on a replacement Halo. The new
God
ring, called
damn
Installation
it.
09, will inevitably teleport back to known space once it's complete, so the humans decide to hitch a ride when the time comes. In order to do so, they make their way to the control room aboard Halo 9 and disarm its weapon systems right before it jumps. Anders is left behind, and some of the Spirit of Fire's crew, but most are able to evacuate
That's
onto the
nice.
ring in time. Unfortunately, rather than completing their ride back home, the ring is yanked out of slip space mid-jump by a Guardian. And that is the Halo story so far.
Oh, this is before even Infinite.
So this is one game behind, it seems, this lore dive. Yeah, no. So the Banish are apparently a rogue group of Covenant. So wait, so there are no aliens in the universe aside from just the Covenant? It's just the humans and the Covenant beefing the entire time? There's no one else?
I
The
wouldn't
AI
say
humanoids
so.
And obviously the Flood.
As
Yes.
for the upcoming Halo Infinite, assuming it
Canon-wise, that's all we've
forward,
met.
we've got to assume that pesky Guardian is under Cortana's control, and that Master Chief's attempts to cure her rampancy and prevent her from stealing the mantle will make up the main thrust of Infinite's story. That said, there are bound to be plenty of surprises along the way.
This was a bare bones view of Halo. It skipped a lot of things. You know, there's the books. He didn't even talk about ODST. But he kind of just skipped over a lot, which that's fine, I guess. But what the fuck? That's not what I wanted. Oh well, it's fine. But yeah, like Nux, if you want a more in-depth like information about Halo, come to me. I will be the gateway to your Halo information. I am a huge fucking nerd. I've been playing Halo since it came out. I've been playing it for over 20 years. One of my, if not my favorite game series. But, yeah, so. Bare bones as it fucking gets with that video that he was watching. He finished it in 40 some odd minutes. I had to go off and bring in my own tisms of tangents. My tangentism, basically, to talk about Halo with more in-depth information. What I am going to do now is I am going to end the stream. I gotta fix some shit, and then I'll be back.